2018 has come and gone with a lot of highs and some lows in the video game world. Hello everyone, Kingdom Kid here with his yearly edition of my top 10 games of 2018. As you all know, I like doing top 10s at the end of the year when it comes to video games, and this year had some pretty good strong contenders. I played quite a bit of games, and boy howdy, some of them were really hard to pick my top 10 for, and I finally decided my final 10, so I hope they all enjoy it. Now, in order for me to consider this to be in my top 10, there had to be a few criterias. First things first, they had to have come out in the calendar year of 2018, which is, pretty obvious. Second, they cannot be a remake or a remaster of anything, so unfortunately, sorry, no Spyro Reignited Trilogy. It's a remake/remaster of the original Spyro games that came out in 1998. I mean, I'd love the hell out of that game, but it can't do that. So no remakes, no remasters. And thirdly, it had to be a game that I finished the story mode from beginning to end. So there are a few games that I weren't able to finish this year, and it's quite unfortunate. They might have been in the top 10, but who knows? They might not have been. But anyway, so that's my three criteria. It's always been those three criteria. Come out the year that I'm doing this in, not a remake or a remaster, and of course, I beat it from beginning to end of story. So if there's a trophy involved that's saying you beat all the story elements of this game, or if you see the final credits, I know there's a game on this list that had multiple credits, so you couldn't really know when for sure you actually beat the game, but I did. I beaten every single game that is on this list, filled out those criteria. So yeah, I also want to say out that this is just my opinion in general. It's also the list is about how much fun I've had in this game and how much I enjoyed playing this game and so on and so forth. So it has no way, shape, or form anything about reviews. It's everything about how I felt while playing these games. So without further ado, this is all just opinion based. It's nothing about critic scores or anything about that. It's just everything that I've had fun during this year. So without further ado, let's begin Kingdom Kid's top 10 games of 2018. Number 10, Darksiders 3. I really did enjoy this game. I enjoyed it a lot more as I progressed through it. The beginning is quite a hill to climb over, I'd say. This game took a lot of inspiration from Dark Souls. As you see, you have a healing of a type of Estus flask, and there's no checkpoints like it was in Dark Souls 1 and 2. The only checkpoints you have are the Vulgrim holes where, you can buy or travel from place to place, similar to bonfires in Dark Souls. But I really did enjoy this game. The combat was actually pretty fun. I love the use of the whip, and of course using all the hollow weapons, and counterattacking is such a big thing in this game, and I really did love the counterattack as soon as I got a hang of it. But I had a blast in this game. The story is actually pretty good too. You get to follow Fury, the youngest and the most quick to anger, and doesn't really follow the rules of the Horsemen. But her story is really good. You get to go travel and beat the 7 deadly sins, which I really like that concept. Find the 7 deadly sins, and then of course you find Uthane again, and you have to rescue humans. Those are really the only collectibles of this game, but it's a fun game, and I enjoyed all of it. And the good news is you can fight any of the 7 deadly. Excuse me. You can fight. You can fight the 7 deadly sin in any order too. I mean, granted, you can't face Pride. Pride always has to be the last one for story-specific reasons, but it's a blast, and I honestly can't wait to see what they are going to do with Darksiders 4. I hope there's a Darksiders 4. It may be the last one or not, but I really did enjoy this game quite a bit, and that's why it's my number 10 of games of 2018. Number 9, Detroit Become Human. I honestly really enjoyed this game quite a bit. This is probably the best David Cage game there is. I have played Heavy Rain, I have played Beyond Two Souls, but Detroit Become Human is just something different. You play as 3 different androids, and it's a lot of parallels with back in the segregation era of our history, and back Or are robots actually human? Or, you know, living creatures because they have emotions and such like that. And the choices feel like they matter a bit. I know there's like one section where two of the characters that you play as could fight, and you have to like you do the prompts for all of them, or not. You'd be like, no, I want this character to win, so I gotta fail the prompts for this one. But if you keep doing it, it's good. And then, you know, there's multiple endings of this, and I really did enjoy the ending that I got during my playthrough of this, where everyone's alive. Well, not everyone was alive, but you know, my main characters were alive, and that's what I cared about. Obviously, I freaking love Connor. I mean, who doesn't love Connor? He's just an adorable little android that it's fun. And like I said, I actually enjoy this game. If I would recommend that you guys go pick this up if you can. It's a really, really fun game. So I really did enjoy it, and that's why it's my number 9 game of 2018. Number 8, Kirby Star Allies. I love this game. I freaking love any kind of Kirby game. There's no bad Kirby game, and I will fight anyone saying that there is. I enjoy this game. This is a fun little story, you know. It's a Kirby game. It's fun. It's supposed to be, you know, easy, and so, but I enjoy this a lot. You know, the story's a little hit and miss with Kirby games, but I really did enjoy this game. You know, an evil being comes down and, you know, tries to take over Popstar, and then, you know, you're Kirby. You rescue your friends, and then they fight alongside you if you have multiple controls. Actually, no, that's a good thing. Like, you can actually befriend enemies if you throw your heart at them and you befriend the enemy, and then you just go around and taking care of business. It's a blast. I always have fun with Kirby games, and I really did enjoy this game. And of course, the secret level that you get once you've unlocked everything, and then at the end when it's like, thank you, Kirby, like, oh, that just melted my heart when I got into that part, and I just fell in love with Kirby even more. And I really do love Kirby. Kirby is he's my favorite Nintendo character ever, and I just enjoy it. And I honestly can't wait to see what they have in store for Kirby on the Switch or in any of their devices coming down. But this is why I really did enjoy Kirby, and I love Kirby to death. And this spot is number 8 of my games of top 10 games of 2018. Number 7, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. This is pretty high up there in my favorite Assassin's Creed games. I freaking love the story of this. They took everything from Origins and just made it better in Odyssey. And I have to say, I really loved Odyssey a lot more than Origins. Now, granted, Origins was their first time ever doing Assassin's Creed in this RPG style like game, you know, where you level up and put points into skills, and then of course you get weapons that you can dismantle for money and other materials, and then you change weapons so you're not always stuck with just the hidden blades and like maybe some other weapon that you get in like previous Assassin's Creed games. But they took the formula from Origins and just really made it more in depth, I guess. And of course there's the options of like, you know, I like this one, like you get to pick between a man or a male or female, and you know the story is a little bit different depending on. I think there's a few side stories that only the female can have, and some that the male can have. And of course, you know, the story is actually pretty stellar in this one, and I really did enjoy it. There wasn't so many, you know, present time sections as there were in past games, and I think that's a good thing. I know a lot of people complain about the present times with the Assassin's Creed games. They're like, no, I don't want to be in the present. I want to be in the past. You know, let me be in the past and kill people. But I really did enjoy this. You know, the introduction of like the battle system where it's like, okay, you know, you do these things, like, since you know the Athenians and the Spartans are at war, you do one thing with on one side, it lowers the power of that place, and then you can go into a battle to either defend or conquer area, and it's really good. The side stuff is actually pretty good too. You know, you get to fight some bosses like the Medusa, the Minotaur, Cyclops. It's pretty fun, and like all the side stuff, I really did enjoy this stuff. And of course, like I said, the story is really top notch. There's actually some multiple endings depending on your choices and such in this game, but I really did enjoy this, and I hope if you guys picked this up, you did too. But that is why Assassin's Creed Odyssey is my number 7 games of 2018. Number 6, Octopath Traveler. I love love this game so much. It brought me back to the old styles of the Final Fantasy games. I see a lot of parables with Final Fantasy VI with this game, and rightfully so. I enjoyed this game so much. There's classes, you can pick between 8 characters, and it's such a blast, and you get to go through 8 different stories. It's so fun. You get to... The stories for all of the individuals is great. There are some critiques I have about this game, mostly a few things. One of the things is, like, I wish you could not miss interactions. So when you start a new chapter with a character, you could get interactions after, you know, a cutscene, but it only has the interactions with the characters that are in your party. And the one thing that I don't mind at first, but your initial character, you can't swap them out until you beat their story. Granted, the stories aren't that long. There's 4 chapters each. So as soon as you beat your initial character's chapter, you can swap them out, which is fine. But I really wish that you could swap them out when you're not doing their story. So you have to have the character that you're doing their story in with you. I just wish, so like the interactions. So as soon when a cutscene plays, you know, then it's like, oh, hey, there's an interaction you could do because you have this party member at this time. So you do the interaction. But then if you try to go to the tavern where you could switch party members to see if any of the other ones, sometimes a new cutscene would play. So maybe that would cancel out the ones that could play. So I just really wish that it would have had more. Like, I wish they were unskippable. Like, I wish they were always up there and they could do it. I wish the side characters would get experience when they weren't in battle, but I get why they weren't. Another critique I have is the post game. So once you've beaten all the story, once you've beaten all 8 stories, once you've cleared all, I believe you also have to clear, I don't think you have to clear all side quests, but there's a quest line that you had to clear. Then you face a final boss room where you have to face every single boss. Like, not every single boss, but there's like, you have to face one boss from all. So you have to face 8 bosses that you fought prior, and I think they're a little more stronger. They're either like the third or they're either the 3rd or 4th boss of your character, and it's just a little more. It's not challenging if you had the right classes. And speaking of like classes, there's 8 classes. You get the 8 classes, then you find the 8 temples, and then there's 4 other classes which are really good if you know how to properly use them. And I learned how to use them. And then once you've beaten those 8 characters, you face a final boss where you are forced to use all 8 of your characters. So there's 2 phases. Your first phase is you're facing the boss with this one party, and then when you beat that boss, you face the next guy with the other party. And you could be in big trouble, because if you decide to ignore some characters and just focus on others, you could be in big trouble with that. So that's why I would love it if they had, hey, even though they're not in the party, they still get some experience, like maybe even half. Like, get half the experience that the battle party did, so they get a little more of that. And the interactions would have been a little better if they were, more not skippable. I mean, granted, you can replay the chapters, but then you have to replay the chapters of them. And not to say that they're bad, but it's still, I wish that it did better. If they ever, like, if they do an Octopath Traveler 2 or anything like that, I hope they put that into consideration. Like, oh, hey, let's change things up here like that. But I did enjoy this game so much. It's probably my favorite Switch game of 2018, and I loved every single second I was playing this game, and I just enjoyed it so much. And of course, I didn't even get into like their little perks that each character has. One character has, you automatic, if you start the battle with a character, they automatically tell you a weakness for one of the enemies that you're facing. One of them can buy items from NPCs. Another one can steal from NPCs. And there's just so much there's so much love in this game, and like all the good I believe really does outweigh the bad of this game, and that's why Octopath Traveler is my number 6 game of 2018. Number 5, Digimon Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory. I loved this Digimon game. It's probably my favorite one in recent years, and it's so good. It's kind of a sequel, sidequel, prequel of Cyber Sleuth Hacker, of Digimon Cyber Sleuth, the first one, and I loved it. So I loved Hacker's Memory so much. You get to follow a guy whose ID got stolen and now is being framed as a hacker. But I mean, if you're being framed as a hacker, you might as well join a hacker team. So he joins Hoodie in hopes of retrieving his old ID and everything. And you know, you meet such great characters and everything. And I just love it. And this game has so much more charm, and it really shows the characters off more in this game than the first one did. And I just love it so much. Like, all your team members in Hoodie is just so adorably put together. And don't even get me started on the funny fight scene that happens between Erica and I can't remember her name, but it's so adorable and so funny. And I hope that anyone gets to play this game. And it's adorable. It's a fun game. I really highly recommend picking this up. And the good news is, if you have Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth information, I mean, it's more so the Digimon information and the medals that you've collected, you can transfer them over to this game, and it carries over. And believe me, it helps a lot, especially with the collectible stuff. And I'm still collecting the medals for this game, and oh boy, it's quite a long haul. But I enjoyed this game so much. I love the characters and the story. Oh, it had me tearing up at the end, and I just loved it so much. And I hope everyone who got to play this game enjoys it too. But that's why Digimon Cyber Sleuth Hackers. That's why Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory is my number 5 game of 2018. Number 4, Yakuza 6: The Song of Life. I love this game a lot, so much so. The 6th and final entry of the Yakuza series for Kiryu Kazuma, and I just loved it. Everything about it. The story picks right up at the end of Yakuza 5, which luckily for me I was able to beat right before I started Yakuza 6. But it's such a good game. You go back to playing only as Kiryu after playing as multiple characters in both Yakuza 4 and 5. But Yakuza 6 kind of goes back to form where it's only Kiryu that you play as. And I loved it. You get to go back to Kamurocho and then a new place called Onomichi. I believe that's what it is. But it's adorable. And of course, the story will tug at your heartstrings. It tugged at mine. And all the side stories are just so beautifully done. Everything about this game I loved a lot. I just loved it. It's a really good Yakuza game. It's a new system compared to all the other Yakuza games. Then they put it into Kiwami 2, and I can't remember if they've had in Yakuza Kiwami. I don't think so. But it's really hard because then you have multiple experiences for stuff, and it can be a little challenging trying to get some experience over others, but eventually you can find it. And I just love this story so much, and it had me crying at the end, and I just loved it. It's a good swan song. It's a good send off for Kiryu and everyone around, and it's just so adorably done. And oh my god, I freaking love Haruto, the little baby. He's so adorable. Then the little mini game you get to play with him when he's crying and you try to upset and you're trying to ease his not really, just ease him, put him at ease as Grandpa Kiryu. It's like, oh my, it's so adorable. And so many twists and turns this story had as well. And of course, you gotta put props into the karaoke music. I love the karaoke music of this as well. And I want to give a shout out to Yakuza Kiwami 2 as well. Yakuza Kiwami 2 is probably so far my favorite Yakuza game so far. And of course, but I can't put that in the list because, as you know, it's a remake of an old game. But I love Yakuza Kiwami 2. And I say it did a little bit better with the Dragon engine than Yakuza 6 did. But I still loved it. I still loved it 2 bits, Yakuza 6. And I love this a lot. It's definitely up there. And I'm definitely looking forward to what Judgment is, or Judge Eyes, when that game comes out in the spring or summer. I can't remember when that game's coming out. I think it's April, but I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what Sega and Yakuza Team have coming up next for this series, and that's why Yakuza 6: The Song of Life is my number 4 game of 2018. Number 3, God of War. I love this game so much, and I think one of the biggest things that I love the most about this is that it's all one frame. Like, there's no frame of black from cutscenes or anything. The only time you'll ever see a frame of black is when you die. And I love that. And this game is just super fantastic. It is God of War 4. It takes place right after years after God of War 3, after Kratos found his way somehow into the Norse realm or Norse world, and he finds a woman. I don't know if they marry, but they have a son, Atreus, and it's just a journey to spread her ashes at the highest peak of all the realms. And it's just such a good story between father and son, and you still get Kratos who gets mad and angry at everything. Sometimes it's just like he starts off like, being a little sassy and such around the beginning, but then after a while he grows on you. He gets angry and mad, and he has to he has to deal with the fact that he still hasn't told his son that he's a god, part god, and just everything about this game is so beautifully done. And I still just love the fact that the only time you ever see a black screen is when you die. Other than that, it's a straight one cam shot, or however it was worded, and I just love the fact. And of course, I loved battling with the axe. The axe weapon is just so fun to fight with, and then you can have Atreus fire arrows at enemies as well. And just the combat, I love the combat in this game so much. It's just so I just loved it. I loved everything about this game, and the story is very top notch. It's probably my favorite thing about this game. It's my favorite thing about a lot of games. This is the story, but something with God of War's story was just beautifully done. And the way that they have a kicker at the end of the game, it really has me excited to see what they plan to do in the future with this game series. And you just have to. I just love the fact every time Kratos says "boy" to Atreus, it's just so adorably done, and I just love it. I hope if you guys ever had a chance to play God of War 2018, I hope that you had a blast playing this game as much as I did, and I know I loved it. I loved it so very much. But that's why God of War is my number 3 game of 2018. Number 2, Spider-Man. I love this game so much. It's definitely my favorite Spider-Man game of all time. You literally you get into the suit of Spider-Man. Just the fact that you can swing around all New York in Spider-Man, it's so beautifully done, and the swing mechanics is just so fun to do. Everything about this is good. The story is phenomenal. I love the story of this game so much, and just all the characters that you meet. Like, I love the fact that, you work for Dr. Otto Octavius, and you've been Spider-Man for 8 years, and there's been villains and characters that haven't really been there yet. Like I said, you work for Otto Octavius, so Doc Ock isn't there yet. And then, Norman Osborn is mayor of New York, and Green Goblin's not around. Just so many fantastically done characters, and everything about this game I just love so much. Like the swinging, the combat is akin to the old Batman Arkham games, and I enjoy those. And it could get frustrating sometimes, but boy howdy, when you start bringing down the combat, how to do combat, it's just so fun. And I loved the combat of this game so much. It was just such a blast to do and play, and literally just play as Spider-Man. And then of course there's other sections where you play as Mary Jane Watson, which I kind of wish was a little bit better than it was. You just sneak around, take pictures, do stuff, and then playing as Miles, which is kind of like the same thing as MJ's stuff, but he has a little more stuff in his disposal. Like, he can tinker with some stuff, and I just loved playing it. And of course the ending, I cried. This is one of the few games that had me crying at the end of the game. This game, my number 1, Yakuza, a lot of games had me crying this year, and definitely Spider-Man was one of them. And it's just and then of course the DLC that came out afterwards, it was so beautifully done, and I loved everything about the DLC and all the side stories that happen with it. It has me super excited for what they are going to do with a possible sequel. They have so many opportunities to bring in. They have so many villains they can bring in. There was a one side quest in the final DLC that's oh my god, they can do something with this character, with how it worked out to be this way. there can be something done with this character, and I'm super looking forward to seeing what Insomniac Games and Sony has planned for Spider-Man 2, and I just cannot wait at all. And of course, I loved all the suits that you get in this game as well. I love the White Spider. I loved all the suits that you get. I wish there was a few suits that weren't in this game that were in this game. Like, I have like 1 or 2 of them that I wouldn't mind seeing, but hopefully, you know, like I said, in Spider-Man 2, whenever they make a sequel for this, however they make it work, they can bring in they can bring in heroes, they can bring in more villains. It's such a masterpiece. I love this game so much, and believe me, it was really hard to decide which one was going to be my number 1. It was either this one or what my actual number 1 was, but I still loved all these games, and this one in general. Like, it helps the fact that Spider-Man is also like my favorite superhero as well, and I just loved it. And of course, Yuri Lowenthal as Peter Parker was phenomenal and was great. I loved it. But that's why Spider-Man is my number 2 game of 2018. Number 1, Dragon Quest XI: Echoes of an Elusive Age. This game was something I never expected it was going to have such an effect on me like it did. I love this game from start to finish. Everything about it was a blast. I love the combat of it. I love the way you just walk around the open world environment. It's not really open world, but you know what I mean. It's a big world, and I just loved how you can just walk around in it. And, you know, all the characters. I loved all the characters. And, of course, the Akiyama art style, you know, Dragon Ball style. It's just so beautifully done. This being, like, my first ever Dragon Quest game that I really, like, got into playing was also an added bonus. And the story of this game is so good. Like, this game has, you think you beat the game, but you don't really beat the game yet. So then you just, you know, it has so many acts, and it's so fun to just play and have such a wonderful time with all the characters I loved, all the side quests, all the side stories, and everything about this was phenomenal. I loved the whole party system that you have to, and you can just walk around, fight, and just, I loved all the characters. And I love the, you know, I love the main character too. Like, you know, you're a prince from a kingdom, and then on the day of your birth, your kingdom gets attacked and falls into darkness, but you survive, and you find yourself in a nice little cobblestone town that, like, not many people even know about or where it's at, but it's just so phenomenal. I loved all the characters about this. I loved all the combat too. I really enjoyed the combat as well with the pep powers and everything about this. Like, so good. There were some moments where I kind of got mad during this game, and if you watched any of my live stream plays of this game, you would know those moments, but I still enjoyed this game. Like, this game had me tearing up at the end. It even had me tearing up in, like, halfway through. It's like, it's one of those games that's like, it really hit home with me in some places. It felt good, and it really gave me emotions, and I'm super excited that I was super happy that I was able to play such a masterpiece of a game, and I loved it so much, and Square Enix really outdid themselves with this game, and it definitely opens the door for me wanting to play more Dragon Quest games, and I'm super excited to play more Dragon Quest games, you know, as long as I'm able to, and I'm super excited to play any more Dragon Quest games that come along, like either remakes or remasters or new entries, like Dragon Quest. Let's bring out Dragon Quest 12 right now. Come on, chop. But I loved it. The voice acting in this game was pretty good too, and I know a lot of people maybe give it some gripe, but I really did enjoy it. And although the music gets a lot of hate too, I enjoyed it for, you know, what it was. I know the PC version lets you have, like, the orchestra version, but I think that was because it was a mod or something, but it's still good. I really did enjoy the music for this game, and of course, being able to wear different costumes felt really funny too, and all the costumes that you can wear for your whole entire party was great. And even, like, the sides, like, there's a part in the story where it's like, okay, you've unlocked this thing, but, like, they don't tell you that, like, you have to do the thing. It's more like, you can do this thing, and maybe it'll make this fight a little easier if you do the thing, but you don't have to do the thing. You could just go on and face the boss. But I recommend doing, like, as much as you can. I did everything that I could in this game, and I loved it all the better for it. And that's why Dragon Quest 11 Echoes of Elusive Age is my #1 game of 2018. Well, that does it for my top 10 games of 2018. What do you guys think of this list? And again, this is just my personal opinion. And if there's games that you are wondering, well, why didn't this game make the list? Why didn't that game make the list? Tune in tomorrow for my video of games that didn't make the list, but could have made the list. Like, just tune into the games I did play that didn't make the list for some other reason. But yeah, this is my list, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed playing this game, or playing these games, and super looking forward to all the games that 2019 has to offer, especially the big one that's coming out shortly, Kingdom Hearts 3. You guys know for sure that game will be in my top 10. It might be my #1, but we gotta see. There's some other games that might come out that might be a big challenging for it. We have possibility of Last of Us 2 coming out, maybe Death Stranding. We have so many games coming out this year that are really big top contenders. This could be another repeat of 2017. Not that 2018 had bad games, but 2017 had big games. So, but anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video of my top 10 games of 2018. Let me know what your top 10 games of 2018 were, and does your list consist of, remakes and remasters? I know mine, I really do limit myself when I don't have remakes or remasters in my theme, but I feel like I should do it that way. That way it's like, well, this game came out 10 years ago. They shouldn't be on the list. So that's why I always pick games that don't have, that are new to this. And of course, if they come out, if they came out in Japan, but they haven't come out this way, then still. But anyway, yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I look forward to so many other great games to play in 2019. And I'll see you all next time.